recent years, the newspaper industry has suffered a series of blows, from consolidation to a shrinking workforce to declining ad revenues. But with these setbacks comes the opportunity for innovation and growth. McClatchy is one company that's embraced that opportunity by initiating a company-wide overhaul. Andrew Pergam, Vice President of Video and New Ventures, says a big part of fostering innovation at McClatchy is emphasizing key components that are common at entrepreneurial startups.
Entrepreneurship is figuring out how are we going to build this thing that sits within the organization, works with different pieces of it, but is building something new and big and different and interesting.
The first component of startup thinking at McClatchy is prioritizing user-centric design.
Understanding your actual user, like going and meeting people and taking and quickly prototyping and like building something, doing it on paper, bringing it to someone who is your ideal user, letting them use it and understand from there where you need to improve it. That's how you're able to do it. It's not saying, here's a big project, it's going to take us a year to build this thing and then we're going to finally launch it. Like that actually is really disconnected from the users. We actually really want to understand them.
From there, Pergam says, it's all about experimentation.
We have to be able to try things and then if they don't work, tinker with them, make them work a little better, and if that doesn't work, tinker one more time, and if that doesn't work, then maybe we say, you know, that was great, good experiment, we learned that didn't work, it's time to move on to the next thing. And we have to not be afraid to do that across platforms and in a very public way, which media companies have struggled with historically.
Pergam says another way to embrace startup culture is not being afraid of failure.
It's not the easiest thing for anyone to admit, well, you know what, that didn't work. But it's actually hugely important and kind of liberating. It can be a really valuable thing, I think, for everyone to be on the same page at the beginning that, you know, we're going to kill things, we're going to move on. And that's not easy, but it's important.
And finally, it's essential to find the right people to join your team. According to Pergam, those with entrepreneurial mindsets are especially valuable.
A lot of it's the culture, and I think it's finding the right people who really want to be a part of something that's going to be nimble and change and go where the tide takes it. It's a pretty important sort of trait that we look for in the people that we hire, is that they understand this is not a typical sort of, you know, I come in, I do this thing, and then I do this thing, and then I go home at 5 o'clock. It's the type of thing where the people that we find really want to be a part of having that change and really creating something new.
Moving forward, it's key that journalists rise to the challenge and embrace innovation, which might ultimately mean more control of where the industry is headed.
I think a lot of the work that media companies will be doing in the future and ought to be doing in the future is helping to bring entrepreneurs along so that the work that is disrupting our industry is actually being done within our walls and in partnership with us.
A final bit of advice from McClatchy and Pergam: when creating something new, think about who you might involve and what kind of strategic partnerships could be beneficial. For the Futures Lab, this is Haley Godburn.